everyone. Tonight, yay! I'm going to be talking about 5 mindset shifts that really I found moved the needle in my business. And some of this is actually inspired by a top director in Ohio. Her name is Tina France. And she's amazing. So as you hear people's names like Gloria Mayfield Banks, Tina France, Brittany Jinks, we've mentioned a lot actually just tonight. Find them on Instagram, find them on Facebook, find them on YouTube, and follow them because you're going to learn from them just like I have. But Tina is a top director, and she shares a lot of. I'm sure you might recognize her name because I forwarded a lot of her Voxers into our Voxer group. But she is very strategic and she's just very good at communicating things in an easy to understand way. So I'm just going to go through these 5 mindset shifts and just really share. I forgot to bring my notebook in here. And really share like how they really open my eyes, but also help me move the needle in my business. So, the first mindset shift is that booking is about connecting, not just scripts. And scripts are so important, y'all. They're so important. But who's booked with me for real, like at Starbucks or on Zoom or something? Okay. So, how often is it that a share, or not a share call, but a booking call goes exactly as the script says? Now, do I get back to the script no matter what the conversation is going like? Absolutely. I absolutely do. I always give them 2 options. I always end the call with them knowing they can invite guests. I always let them know, I'll be texting them, I'll be emailing them. I get their email, I get their address. All of that's super important. But life is typically not going to go as scripted, and the booking call is your first opportunity, oftentimes, to connect with them. For some people, we can connect with them at a vendor event or however you lead generated, but sometimes we can't because maybe they're a referral, maybe they're from a facial box. Really, the booking call might be the very first time that you interact with this person. So, I love asking different questions. So if I'm on the phone is the easiest way I feel like to connect, but not everybody answers the phone. But if they answer the phone and you're chatting with them. So if I hear kids in the background, sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, it sounds like you have your hands full." Just to like invite her to say, "Oh yeah, I have kids," or "Oh, I watch my grandkids." And then I ask more questions. I'm not just like, "Oh, that's cool," and then get back to the script because that is scripty. That's weird. Don't feel like you're holding people up because if you ask them if it's a good time, then they can chat for a minute and it doesn't even add a whole lot of extra time to the conversation just to kind of be genuinely curious about people. So if I'm booking someone and they say, "Oh, I got to check my work schedule," then I'm like, "Oh, what do you do?" I always ask that. "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm writing the whole time I'm on the booking call, I'm writing notes down. And she might say, "Oh, I'm a nurse." And then I'm going to comment on that. I'm going to say, "Oh my gosh, you obviously have a huge heart. That's amazing. I love that." Or she says, "Oh, I'm a teacher." Then I'm going to say, "Oh, girl, you must have a lot of patience. What age do you work with?" And then I'll just have a small conversation. This is not like a drawn out conversation, but people like talking about themselves. And when you're genuinely curious and you actually care enough to ask these questions, it does make a difference. And I do think so. This was a huge mindset shift for me and just a realization because I do think that if you're just following the script and you never actually book with others, then you're going to miss out on some of that opportunity to like hear other people connecting on these booking calls and know that it's okay to go off script as long as you get back to it. You do have to get back to the script. It is very important to get, the date and time, to tell them what to expect, to get their email, but you do have an opportunity to connect with them on the booking call. Also, while coaching, so let's say you're just you end up texting them to book them because they didn't answer. That happens a lot. I like the coaching question about like the magic wand. If you had a magic wand, what's one thing that you would change about your skin? Because it opens the opportunity for me to actually have a conversation with her. So, when you're like, "What's your favorite color?" I usually say, "Oh, that's like," I'll comment on it. I'm not gonna say, "Oh, that's my favorite color too," if it's not. But if they say yellow, I'm like, "Oh, that's such a happy color. I love it." Or, just like comment on what they're saying. Don't just be a robot. But the magic wand question, you get all kinds of answers. I'll hear, "Oh, my skin has got a lot of blemishes." And then I'll say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you to try this charcoal mask and tell me what you think. I think you're going to love it. You're going to see immediately what it pulls from your skin. It's amazing." Like it just lets me talk back and forth with her. Or if she says, "Oh, my dark circles or my wrinkles," or I'm going to say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We're trying blah, blah, blah. I can't wait to see what you think." So now she's even more excited about the skincare session because it feels custom to her. It feels important to her, not just, "Oh, a free skincare session. So booking is about connecting. You don't wait until you get to the party to connect with people. You could show up and know so much about the hostess and her guest by the time you show up to that party. Once you figure out everyone's name, you could be like, "Oh, I remember you said blah, blah, blah. And I remember you said blah, blah, blah." And that means a lot to people. So also, people like to hear their name. There's science behind this. So when you're on the booking call, don't be afraid to say their name several times. So at the end, I actually, in my notebook, when somebody at the end of a booking call says, "Thanks, Wendy," or "Bye, Wendy," or something like that, I always star her. I'm like, I already like her because she has people skills. Because she paid enough attention to even remember my name, because I'm a random stranger on the phone. Through that whole conversation, she remembered my name and she said, "Thank you, Wendy," at the end. I'm already starring her. And I am like making it my mission to be sure that skincare session holds or gets rescheduled if it doesn't hold, because now I want to recruit her because she got people skills. So people like hearing their name. So at the very end of the conversation, you're like, "Thank you, Melissa. Have a great day." People like hearing their name. So say their name on the booking call. The more you say their name, the more you can connect with them and you'll remember their name better too. So, um, but that is the first shift, which just booking is about connecting, not just scripts. And I'm not telling you to throw the scripts out. Mm-mm. I put a lot of effort into that booking and coaching playbook. We using the scripts, but I want you to connect with people too. Okay, so the second mindset shift is that following up past the second message is where magic happens. I meant to bring my notebook in here so that I could show you just how many people book on not the first and second attempt. Too many people give up way too quickly when it comes to booking because they think they're being ghosted. 90% of the time, you're not being ghosted. People just forget. Has anyone ever forgot to respond to a text? Or you start a text conversation and then it just like trails off. So many times I'll go to my booking notebook and I'm transferring people to call for the next day and I look at our text conversation and I'll be like, "Oh, we were going back and forth and then it just stopped." And sometimes it's me, sometimes it's her. So I put those people, I transfer them. If we had a text conversation from the first time I reached out, she's still a T2, she's still a contact too, and I'm still going to call her again. I'm not just going to start texting her again. Because we were having a text conversation does not mean that I'm not going to call her now. And I used to be so guilty of this. This is why it was a mindset shift for me, was because I used to, if I would look in the phone and see, "Oh, we were already texting back and forth. Let me just text her again." Yeah, that's the easier thing to do. But when you call her, it gets her attention more. Even if she doesn't answer, even if like you would leave a voicemail, it still gets her attention more. And then she can put, or she can be more likely to check that text that you send as a follow-up. So the second one is following up past the second message is where magic happens. So we don't just reach out twice. We don't just reach out 3 times. Y'all, how many times are we reaching out? 5. And that's minimum. You might go past 5. I've actually transferred people because they actually were still communicating with me. I'll still put like C3 and C4 and C5, and then I'll go C6. I've looked in my notebook and seen a C8 before, and it just tells me that they're still communicating with me for some reason. They just haven't booked yet. I keep transferring them because I don't want them to fall through the cracks. People will fall through the cracks if you don't have a tracking system for these follow-ups. So I'm really meant to bring my notebook in here. I'll take a picture of it. How about that? And I'll put it in Voxer and show you. I know a lot of bookings come from the first attempt. That's very true. If they answer on the first attempt, oftentimes it's easier to book them, but they do not all book on the first attempt. And I will look and see how many bookings I have right now from first attempts versus follow-ups because I always get bookings from follow-ups too. And a lot of times people are like, "Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I meant to respond." And I'm like, "Girl, it's okay. Me too. I get it." So don't give up on the first or second or even third attempt. Okay, so the next one, number three, objections are an invitation to connect deeper, not just to overcome the objection, but to be honestly curious again about what's happening in her life. So, objections come in many forms. So, she might have an objection to booking. Booking objections, they're legitimate concerns. She says, "Oh, I need to check my schedule." That is a legit concern. So instead of just looking at the overcoming objections and being like, "Well, yeah, I get it, but let's pencil something in," honestly, see it from her point of view. Like, "Oh, yeah, I can hear that you're driving. You're probably not looking at your calendar right now, and I'm totally looking at mine." And she'll be like, "Yeah." And so then I'll be like, "Well, what do you think would work best? We can pencil it in, and once you get in front of your calendar, if it doesn't work, we'll change it." So it's not just overcoming the objection just to overcome the objection, it's actually paying attention. And a lot of times they are driving. A lot of times when they answer the phone for a booking call, they're driving, and I can tell they're driving. And so when they're unsure, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can tell you, it sounds like you're driving. So you're probably not looking at your calendar." Um, and then so I say we can just pencil it in and I'll text it to you. And then once you get home and you look at your schedule, if it doesn't work, let me know. We'll change it. It's no big deal. That's not in the script, but it's a objection that is it's like it's easy to overcome, but also it's easy to just brush off people's feelings because we're overcoming an objection. So don't just overcome an objection just to overcome an objection. Overcome it by really putting yourself into her shoes and just being a little more understanding of why she's having that objection. Does that make sense? So let's just say with team building, so somebody is like really interested in starting a Mary Kay business, but she doesn't have $35. It's easy to be like, "Oh, girl, you can find $35." But no, think about this. Think about her bank account is in the negative every week because she does not make enough money to pay her bills. Think about what it might be like to legitimately not have 35 extra dollars. And then have a conversation with her based on that. Are we still validating her concern, overcoming it, and asking a question? Yes, but with feeling instead of just, "Ah, well, I know that women who are super motivated can find $35. Like, if I was to give you some ideas, would you be willing to try it?" I mean, does that come across the same as, "Oh my goodness, like, I imagine it's really tough to live paycheck to paycheck. Everything's so much more expensive now with gas and groceries. And I heard recently that people need 700 more dollars just to live compared to a few years ago. So I can see how you could be struggling a little bit for that 35 bucks. Is it okay if I give you some ideas?" And then I tell them, like with that one in particular, I'll say, "I think it would be beneficial to try to think of some ways to come up with the $35 that don't include waiting until your next paycheck because your next paycheck is probably already spent before it even hits your bank account. You probably have overdraft fees and you got bills that you're behind on. And so, what if you were to like go through your closet and see if maybe you have some extra clothes or things that you have grown out of, or you've lost weight and you can't wear anymore, or you just don't like it anymore, and try to sell them on Marketplace. Or maybe if they have kids, I'm like, "Hey, what about dropping some things off at Once Upon a Child? They give you cash the day of." Um, so I'll try to give them ideas instead of just overcoming the objection just to overcome it. And I also try to really hear what she's saying versus just like, "Well, if you really wanted it, you could figure out how to do it." Because that is not really going to help you connect with people. So, overcoming objections with heart, I think, would be So, for some people, empathy comes very naturally. For some people, like myself, it does not. So, if you're one that it does not come naturally, this might be a little bit harder for you. I'm just being honest. So, put yourself in their shoes and really hear what they're saying. And then, number four, there came a point, and this was actually very early in my Mary Kay business, where I took quitting off the table. It was off the table. So, did I think about it? Yes. Did I speak it aloud to my director, to my sister consultants, to literally anybody in Mary Kay? No, I did not. Because it was off the table. It wasn't a valid option. Did I think about it? Yeah. I didn't even say, when I have thought about quitting, I don't even say it to my husband. That's actually the worst person you could say it to be honest. So when I think about quitting now, I reach up to my national. I don't tell her I'm thinking about quitting. I'm just like, hey, I'm struggling. I need help. Not, I'm about to quit or like have a legit temper tantrum. So do I want to sometimes? Yes. Do I do it? No. So it is literally not an option for me to quit. So if what I'm doing is not working, I am just going to have to pivot and I'm going to have to figure out how to make it work. If I'm not making money, I need to figure out how to make money because guess what? People make a lot of money in this business. There's no reason why we can't too, right? Not that I'm not making money, but there have been seasons in my business where I've been frustrated. Like I was holding parties and I wasn't making money. So I had to figure out what am I doing here? It just is a thing that needs to be addressed. It's not a reason to throw in the towel because quitting is not an option. And then number five is failing isn't failure. It is not. Failing is ways to figure out like Thomas Edison, right? He's the one that invented the light bulb. I don't know how many times he tried. I can't remember the number, but it was very big, like 10,000 or 2,000. I don't know. It was a very big number. And he didn't consider it failure. He just said he figured out 2,000 ways or 10,000 ways or whatever the number was, how not to make the light bulb. So failing is only failure if you quit. It really is proof. Failure, to be completely honest, and disappointment is proof that you are trying. Because you wouldn't consider it a failure if you weren't putting effort towards your business. So take failure as proof that you are clearly doing something. And maybe there does need to be a tweak or a pivot, but if you weren't putting in effort, you wouldn't feel like you were failing. You would just be not doing anything, right? So the people that are not on the Zoom right now, they don't feel like they're failing because they might, well, this isn't everybody. I know there's some people that just can't get on the Zooms and they're going to watch the replay. But there are a lot of people in Mary Kay who just aren't working their business at all. They don't consider that a failure. They just aren't doing anything. So we only feel like we're failing when we're trying. So take that as proof that you're in the game. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And we fail forward to success. We do. We try things that don't work. And I'm sure that most of you have been in Mary Kay long enough for you to see me have changed some. That was just a hot mess. For you to have seen me change some things, right? So we changed the way we do our parties. We've changed the way we've done our share calls. We've changed so much over the years. We've tried pink possibility chats. We've tried the coupon club for sharing. We've tried the Kate Spade. We've tried so many different things because we are failing forward to success. We try something, and if it doesn't work, if we give it a real effort and it doesn't work, then we change it. That's why the party's changing right now. And it's not because the party's not working, because guess what? We are making money. If we are holding parties, we are selling products. And anybody who's on right now that's holding parties right now can tell you without a doubt that people are buying Mary Kay. The reason that we are changing the party is not because we're not selling, it's because we're not recruiting. So what I have changed is to address that pivot that needed to be made. So who wants to recruit at your parties? I'm excited about this, okay? So Kristen Sharp, y'all gonna get tired of hearing her eventually. She'll be my friend one day because I'll be a national and I'll be able to be like, my friend Kristen is here to train you on this blah 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 instead of me just telling you. So she she holds a weekly meeting and I'm pretty sure it's in person. And at her meeting, the queen of sales typically has over $2,000 in sales for the week because They are holding parties. And the parties are leading to sales, but they're also leading to sales directors. So she is offspringing first line sales directors left and right because what they're doing is working. Obviously, they're selling products, but they're also adding team members. Otherwise, they wouldn't have new directors, right? You can't become a director without adding team members. And so, one of the biggest things that you'll notice when this flip chart is ready, which it really should be ready tomorrow, is that we are sharing the business opportunity at the very end of the party, like the very, very end. Like you've already closed them and sold them products end. So I'm really excited about this. And that's why we're going to have a mock party. So if you're local, if you're not local, don't worry. I'm going to be really intentional about recording it in a way that you can actually hear it on YouTube. But if you're local, I really want you part of this party. I know a lot of y'all have already said that you want to come. I'm going to tentatively say that this party will be next Wednesday evening. I'm not 100% certain on that. But actually, you know what? I think I am certain on that. There's no way that the edits on the flip chart are going to take that long because they already sent me the flip chart. I just needed to change a few things. I stayed up way too late asking for the changes, and some of the instructions I gave them made 0 sense. So it's just a couple of small things that need to be changed, and then it'll be ready to print. So next Wednesday evening, I don't know where we're holding this party, so if you have any ideas, let me know. But I want to have a party with consultants. I'm gonna ask Camila if we can have it at her house, but I want to have a party with consultants um, as a practice. I will be using this flip chart over the weekend though, because I have parties booked, but it'll be good for all of us to see. There's a couple of things behind this. One is that our party is going to go faster. And a lot of the changes that you'll see come from Kristen Sharp. So the very first page tells you how to set up, and it has a lovely picture from Scarlett on a setup of how to like put your mirror and your tray and your washcloth and just all the things. It's just a nice little setup. But the second page, immediately you get to the products. There's no introductions because as they're coming in the door, of course, you're gonna be like, what's your name? Here's my name, blah, blah, blah. So we're gonna take like the share presentation out of the beginning of the party, and we're gonna incorporate parts of it into other pieces of the party. But immediately, like literally immediately, they sit down, and when it's time, if that party starts at 7, then at 7 o'clock, you're like, let's get straight to the pampering. I'm so excited. All right, whose lips get crusty? Yes. All right. So you get straight to the satin lips. And so I reordered it in a way that it will go faster. I already know it'll go faster. So it'll go faster. It'll be more fun for the guest. And I know that our recruiting is going to go up because when it's fun and fast and you share the business opportunity, because here's the thing, we're sharing the business opportunity at the parties. They're totally interested in the business. We're just not recruiting at very high numbers right now. And that needs to be addressed. So that's what we're addressing. Fun, fast, and they gonna join your team. So I'm excited. And this party format also, for me, it's going to make me more intentional about making sure that every single booking that I have has at least one friend there. At least one. Because with 2 people, I can do tickets and drawings. And at the end, that's what's going to bring them back to the table is the fact that you haven't done the drawing yet. So you can individually close people, you can sell them the products, and guess what else happens? You set up the share call before you even share the business opportunity. So they're not like, well, I'm not interested. I don't need to do that call. No, the call is just for everyone. It is not optional. It is something that we do with everyone, whether they're interested or not. So we set up the share call, we close the sale, and we book their second session before we even share the business opportunities. And they come back together at the end, and we do the business information with the bonus round, extra tickets, and then the drawing for the prize. And Kristen also says that at her parties, she has extra prizes. So if she has a really good party, she's going to give away multiple prizes because they just bought a lot of product. Now, if you have a party and you sell like $10, you still would do a drawing, but just do one. It's up to you. Like you're prepared to do more than one, but at that point, you know how much money you've made, so you can decide how much stuff you're going to give away at the end. And Scarlett and I found these super cute little like 4 ounce mugs that we're putting gifts together. You do not have to do this, but don't overthink your gifts. It should just be something cute that looks like a birthday present where they can't tell what's inside of it. And I've given away candles over the years. I've given away Mary Kay products, but there have not been a lot of times in my business where I've just had a lot of extra Mary Kay products because most of what I order is filled roll-up bag stuff. So now we are doing this cute little mug with a inspirational tea bag and a honey stick, not like the skinny ones, but like a honey pack. And it's just going to be wrapped and super cute and it's going to be adorable. So I'm excited. So, and it ends up being, it's like less than $1.25 per gift when we got everything off of Amazon. So, if you want the links for those, I can send them to you. You would get a lot. You would get enough to make like 30 gifts. So that's 30 parties or around 30 parties if you give away more than one. But we've also become really uniform in what we do with our goodie bags because Kristen Sharp, again, the goodie bag is a big thing for her. So she actually, part of her coaching is that she sends a picture. So Scarlett's holding it up right now. Here, I'm gonna bring Scarlett on the screen right quick because YouTube people cannot see her. Okay, so hey. So, one thing that Kristen Sharp does is part of the coaching process, and I am going to get this added. Let me write a note. Added to the coaching sheet. Um, is she sends them a picture of their goodie bag. And you don't have to hold it in a way where they can tell what everything in it is. But what she does is she just hole punches a business card and ties it on there like a tag. And then she puts their name on there. And she says in her training, I don't care how pretty you think your handwriting is, you are not writing their name on this. Like, she just made it very clear you don't write their name on it. She prints Avery labels, which you can, just it's just one label per goodie bag and just sticks it on the back of that business card. Now, Scarlett and I also got these. Oh, look, this cute little thermal printer. This was like 10 bucks. I think we got two for 15 or something like that. It was super cheap. So this is a thermal printer and it prints tiny, like this is the where the thing comes out. It prints tiny labels, but you can print her name. So yeah, like that. So you can print her name and like a little heart or a star or something, and you just stick it. What we did, we're not using business cards because my business cards actually have stuff on both sides. We bought some um heart. Do you have the heart? The heart just tags. It was 100 for $5.99 off of Amazon. And so we're just gonna print her name on one of these, and this is a sticker, and you just put it. And if you want a link to this or the heart tags or any of that, let me know because I will send you the links to all of this. But we just are printing it on there because again, people like to see their names. So part of her coaching is like, hey, Tiffany, I'm so excited. I have your goodie bag ready. And it's just some kind of cute background, like, or wooden floor, just not like junk in the background, but something just plain. And she's holding it. So you got to make sure your nails are at least a little cute, at least not a hot mess. And she's holding it, and you can see a little bit of what's in the goodie bag, but you can also see her name. So now she knows. And this is for the hostess and every guest. So what we've done with our goodie bags is the hostess is getting a loofah with a mini satin body scrub. Those satin body scrubs are $1.50. So a loofah, oh, and a mint. A loofah, a mint, or piece of candy that's not going to melt, and then a satin body wash, not a scrub, sorry, satin body wash. And then part of the coaching, we say, if you send me your guest list within 24 or 48 hours, you get like double the goodie bag. So if they get their goodie bag doubled, I'm just adding in the satin body scrub and lotion. So now they get the scrub, the lotion, a loofah, and a piece of candy. That's the hostess. Now, and there's the little heart tags. They're so cute. And then for the guest, she will show again. We just have a organza bag. They're all organza bags, but she just has an organza bag with the satin hand cream, a mini nail file, and a mint. And I have the links for all of these. We did research so we could find the cheapest, but they're also super cute. Those nail files are adorable and people love them. They're just like, you get 100 of them for like $10, but they're glittery. So people like them. And it goes together. A mini hand cream and a nail file, it makes sense. The loofah, we got 80 of those for like $30. Um, and we split those up. So you guys can split them up too if you want, because we didn't necessarily need 80 at one time, although we do plan to hold a lot of parties. So now I have on my shelf ready to go 48 guest bags, and I think like 20 hostess bags, and they're just ready to go. And we'll have prizes. Like, so when you do a party, you're just grabbing some goodie bags, however many guests you have coming, you're slapping their name on it, using it for coaching. And then you're also sending or grabbing a prize, a giveaway. Have them ready so you're not trying to scramble at the last second when you have bookings. So, okay. So Scarlett, here I will. The hostess bag is the loofah with the satin body scrub. So the satin body wash. So the satin body wash is a deluxe mini. The hand cream is a sample. They're actually the same size, but the hand cream you can get 12 of those for $8. And then the satin body, yeah, just order some with every order you place. Just have now the hand cream you have to get 12 for $8, but the satin body wash you can get one for $1.50. You get, just get a bunch of them. Just start building your stash. But this is how I'm going to train everybody moving forward. Now, do you have to do this? No. But I will tell you, if we're talking about mindset shifts. Okay, Scarlett, I can take you back off. So if we're talking about mindset shifts, I have over the years spent way too much time, okay, wasted way too much time trying to prepare for parties. Like I'll book a party and then I'll freak out because I don't have any gifts, I don't have any goodie bags, I have nothing to give them, and then I run to the store. Melissa has seen this. Literally, we were driving to Georgia and she was putting goodie bags together in my car, and I was like, I'm so sorry. This is such a bad example of what not to do. So I've spent way too much time and money because when you're in a pinch, you just grab stuff and you're spending way more than you need to. This way, oh, we have definitely got it down to a science. It is very affordable. I mean, these bags, they're costing us less than $1 each, except for the hostess ones. But the hostess is the hostess, so she gets a little extra. So So we got it down to like what to order, what quantity, and so we'll share all that. It's actually, I think it's already all on the party supplies post, but I'll double check to make sure everything's there because I think I even added a thermal printer. Like you can get one of these for $10. I think I found one even less than $10. Um, so anyway, I'll make sure that that's all on there and I'll pin that post if it's not already pinned to the featured section in our Facebook group. But that's the explanation behind the point or the pivot, the changes. So in these last couple of minutes, I want to share 5 habits of a crown builder. So as you're building your crown, whether your crown is Queen of Sales, whether it's your own pink Cadillac, whether it's a unit, whether it's getting into red, we all have a different crown that we're running after, right? So I have 5 habits of a crown builder. Number one, I'm going to run through these. These are probably nothing new to you, but number one is connect daily. So connect daily. Make a goal, aim for, now this might not look perfect, but aim for 3 conversations a day with curiosity-based messages. They might be booking calls, and this means they have to answer the phone, obviously. Now, I've had people that answer the phone and I'm like, "Did I catch you at a good time?" And they're like, "Oh, I have a second." And then I'm like, "Okay, I'll make this fast." I don't typically ask them a ton of questions. I just get them booked. I get their information, I get off the phone. So this would be more like they actually answered and they're like, "Yeah, it's a great time." And you like make an effort to connect with them, to learn more than just their email address and their address for the party. So walk away from that conversation knowing something about her. And that could also be a share call. Although if I'm doing your share call, it doesn't count. I want to be doing your share calls this month though. I do. So for the 50, I want to do all 50 of them. If I happen to not answer the phone, that's what the share call playbook is for. But I have a feeling most of these conversations are going to be booking calls. And they could be booking conversations with people that you know or leads, but make an effort to learn more than just the bare minimum. So aim for three a day, three conversations. And then tip number two is follow up fully, fully. So you're going to follow up until they say no or they ghost you 5 times. Legit, five. I don't care if they haven't responded to a thing. I still go the whole five. And are you tracking this? Are you tracking this so it doesn't fall through the cracks? Because y'all, here's another thing. I have done this all kinds of ways. I've used Ziploc bags to keep my leads. And then guess what? When you lose your Ziploc bags, you're kind of screwed. I mean, it's not a good tracking system. I know people that physically keep every lead until they follow up 5 times. I really, really like the booking system that we use. So if you need the YouTube link for the booking system that we use, I can send it to you. I made it back in 2017. That's how long this has been working for me. And I made that once I had mastered it. I had already been using it for a long time by the time I even made the video. Now, one difference between then and now is that I said follow up 3 times. Now we're following up 5 times because things have changed. People are more distracted now than they were 7 years ago. Oh, that was 8 years ago. Wow. It's rough. So follow up fully and track. Make sure you know exactly how many times you've contacted each person, not just because you see it in your phone, but that you're actually tracking it. Number three is share boldly. So do 2 to 3 share calls a week and ask about what stood out the most about the business opportunity. Now, if we are doing the share calls, I will be asking that. That is always a question to ask. What stood out to you the most? What surprised you the most? I'm going to ask that. So, I have a challenge for you this week. Now, these are habits that you want to build, but my challenge for you this week is for every single person on this Zoom to have at least one share call this week. At least one. Every single one of you between now and the next time we have a Zoom next Tuesday, preferably before Sunday, I would like to do it, but at least one share call with me. And if you need a script or you haven't told me how many share calls you want to do this month, because once everybody was telling me how many share calls they wanted to do, I gave each person a custom script that they could use to set up the share calls. So if you don't have a script for me, or if you have it and you haven't used it yet, now's the time. So at least one, but the habit to build is at least 2 to 3 a week. So at least 2 to 3 a week. And then number 4 is track the right numbers. So are you using your Party to Rise tracking? I know this can feel overwhelming. Stop letting it overwhelm you. Just do it. Use your Party to Rise tracking every month. Use a layering sheet for sharing because once you've seen 15, 20 faces and we've done like 10, 11, 12, 13 share calls, you might not remember who you were supposed to do what with. You might forget like, oh, I was supposed to follow up with her after the pink pillow test. So use a layering sheet and also take notes. The share call playbook has the paper that you fill out for every single share call, and you're filling that out so you know exactly what the next step is. And then number 5 is plug into growth. So check in with your director daily with your voice. If we're not having an actual conversation, use Voxer with your voice, not your typing. It's not the same. Trust me. The minute I talk to Scarlett, I know if something's wrong. I don't care what her words say. I know. So check in with your director every single day with your voice. And then submit your recognition. Obviously, you guys all did that or you wouldn't be on here. Pray over your business daily. That's another area to grow, and that will grow you. Attend seminar. Y'all, we have 2 people registered for seminar right now. That is not okay. It is literally in our backyard, and we have 2 people registered. Last year, I think we had 8 people at seminar. So if we can take 8 people to Dallas, we should be taking about 30 people to Charlotte. So let's get registered for seminar. Seminar will change your life. Trust me. Show up to everything that you can because those who show up really do go up. So that is those are the habits. I know we're a little bit over, so if you're hopping on the brow party, we need to hop on that now. But thank you so much, everyone, for being on here, for just taking the time and effort and energy to show up for your business, but also to show up for me because I don't want to talk to myself every week. I appreciate you guys being on, and I love seeing you all. Thank you for being present, for taking notes, for participating, for chatting with me. I am so excited to raise the bar. I'm so excited to see everyone reaching their goals. So just figure out what is your next step. And I think that honestly, if you know what your next step is, great. If you don't, do a share call because I will help you with your next step. Doesn't matter if they join or not, I will help you with whatever's next. Just get them on a share call. So just if you don't know what to focus on right now, book a share call. Reach out to me for a script and let's make it happen. Even if we've shared with them before, we're going to count them this month because we got to get 50 of them in. So let's make it happen. So I hope you all have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to see what we learn on the brow party. If y'all need the link for that, I can share it in Voxer. I'll share it in Voxer. Okay, I'll put it in there now. But y'all have a great rest of your night.